Nothing really prepares you for this view. Just out of nowhere, suddenly, they appear.
That is so amazing.
And then Lincoln.
Ah,
You're a grand old flag, you're a high flying flag, and forever in peace may you reign.
Each represents
And the
different
land I love, the land I love.
Wait a minute.
Mount Rushmore rises out of the Black Hills of South Dakota. The original purpose of the project in the early 1920s was to create a marvel, an attraction, to bring people to the state. And it worked, even 100 years later, for my family, who visited for the very first time. The sheer size of the memorial stops you in your tracks. But its creation wasn't without debate over the concept and funding, even over rights to the land. And some of those disputes continue to this day. Yet people, millions of people, flock from all over the world to make a pilgrimage here. And you see it in the crowd, so many different people from so many different places, all gazing at what the creators wanted to showcase as an enduring symbol of America. The original idea for the memorial included famous faces of America's exploration west, but the lead sculptor argued the faces should honor all of America.
So each president represents something different. President Washington represents the beginning of America. President Jefferson represents the growth, the Declaration of Independence, and the westward expansion. President Roosevelt represents development or exploration. And you have President Lincoln that represents preservation for his role during the Civil War.
You can walk a boardwalk built around the base of the memorial for some very unique views of it. It reminds me of the hundreds of stairs built to help workers climb to their positions every day, but we were nowhere near as high. The memorial is more than 5,000 feet above sea level, and the faces of each president are roughly 60 feet or 6 stories tall. Workers dangled hundreds of feet over the face of the mountain to do their work. Some of the crumbled rock you're seeing below the faces even today is left over from the blasts used to create the monument.
One of the most interesting facts about Mount Rushmore is that 90% of it was sculpted with dynamite. And this is something that the sculptor did not want to use, but after a couple weeks of using more traditional tools, realized he was going to have to. And he did so because he had to get the really, really tough, hard rock off of the mountain so he could get to the softer stone so he could actually carve.
One large from the pupil of that eye is about 3 feet in diameter. The upper lid is 18 inches in height, and the full length of the eye is about 8 feet.
One final astonishing fact is although it took 14 years to complete and hundreds of people worked on it, no one died despite the challenges and the height. Here's a list of everybody who worked on this incredible monument. And you see a lot of pictures with men, but I just want to point out that it was men and women who worked to make it happen.
Despite all we learned about who and when and how and why, still part of Mount Rushmore remains a little bit beyond comprehension. How this rock became a memorial that has endured, standing the test of time and elements and the evolution of America. So I leave you with this. One of my favorite quotes I read displayed on site by President Roosevelt. He said this: "We here in America hold in our hands the hopes of the world, the fate of the coming years, and shame and disgrace will be ours if in our eyes the light of high resolve is dimmed, if we trail in the dust the golden hopes of men." Speaking of eyes, as we left that day, I could only wonder about not only what each of these presidents saw in their lifetime, but what they are gazing towards on the horizon.
The free